Guys, I just rewatched a lot of Adesanya's fights. And I just rewatched a lot of Dricus Du Plessis' fights. And throughout the past couple of months, I've been thinking that, Adesanya is more motivated than ever. This is a grudge match. He's going to come back as contender Izzy, and we know the contender Izzy. He knocks everyone out. Dricus Du Plessis sloppy on the feet. There's a really good shot that Adesanya can come back and get a nasty KO. And then I actually rewatched his fights, and I was reminded, wait a second, he lost that one. He actually didn't look too good in this one. And, he lost that one too, even though the judges awarded him the victory. And I just reminded myself, wait a second, you're falling into the classic trap. You're falling into, you always talk about this guy being overrated, but when it actually comes down to picking a fight, you're like, well, Adesanya's pretty good at countering, so he's going to get the KO. I mean, in the build-up to the Sean Strickland fight, I gave 100 reasons as to why Strickland could actually make this a competitive fight. And again, I bought into the hype. I bought into the aura. I bought into, but it's Adesanya, though. I mean, he's not going to lose a kickboxing battle. I'm not going to fall into that trap again. If he doesn't KO Dricus Du Plessis early, because Adesanya has only knocked people out early on in fights, he doesn't have a single KO in his UFC career outside of the first or second round. The people that he has KO'd brutally, Robert Whittaker and Alex Pereira, were chinny. Pereira, chinny at 185 because of his weight cut. Robert Whittaker does the Irish jig every time he gets hit, and that was him coming off of the Yoel Romero wars. Wait a second. Is this Paulo Costa, or do we have something different on our hands? I think Dricus Du Plessis, if he survives the first or second round, which I think he will, because he's underrated when it comes to his ability to game plan. Dricus Du Plessis' ability to put together a game plan is just excellent, and it's evident when you watch his last couple of fights with the way that he was able to have success against tricky opponents in Whittaker and Sean Strickland. And what I'm saying right now is, number one, this fight's in Australia. That's an issue for Adesanya, believe it or not. Number two, we're probably going to see Dricus Du Plessis survive the first couple of rounds. And if that's the case, I just got to say it how it is. Adesanya is one of the most overrated strikers in UFC history when it comes to his dominance on the feet in a classic tit-for-tat point style of kickboxing match. When I talk about point style, tit for tat, I'm talking like over the course of a 5-rounder. When him and his opponent are like having that kickboxing battle, he's not dominant. And actually, he's quite predictable. And don't get me wrong, he's dangerous early. He's fast. He has an awkward rhythm of counter striking. But as soon as he faces adversity, if things don't go his way, if he doesn't run someone on due to them making a colossal mistake early on in a fight when he's at his fastest, you can literally see the confidence drain out from underneath him. Like, you can see his body language and his facial expression completely shift. It was evident in the Whittaker fight. In the rematch, that is. It was evident in the Cannonier fight. He drops Whittaker in the first round, and you see him doing the hush-hush, and you see him like, he's got pep in his step, he thinks he's hot shit, and the next thing you know, Whittaker starts popping around in the second round. We see a completely different guy by the end of the second round. Third, fourth, fifth? I mean, you may as well have gotten like a CPU from UFC 4 to throw the same simulation of strikes over and over and over again. My point is, if Adesanya doesn't get a KO early, if he doesn't have his big 8-mile moment where, you can't miss your opportunity blow, and Adesanya doesn't walk someone on to one of his fucking nasty winging hooks, you can see the guy, breaks out in a cold sweat, gets a little bit uncomfortable, and starts resorting to jab from Adesanya. There's that low kick. There's a jab. And a front kick up the middle. And there's another low kick. Right? Because, when people think of his style, they think of, dominance, the style bender. He's popping to the body and he's going up top and you just don't know what's coming next. But actually, you kind of do. You kind of do know what's coming next. What, a couple of feints are going to throw you off these days? Adesanya, the issue is that he's kind of low output. You're lucky to get 20 significant strikes in a high point round, where that's like the round in which he landed the most. You see, back in the day, Contender Izzy, when he was on the come up, the guy would throw spinning elbows and he would throw flying knees and Eminari rolls. These days, again, if he doesn't have the big 8 Mile moment, if he doesn't have the anime moment, he resorts to a low output, predictable style. Dricus Du Plessis, the way that he fights, the dude is a fucking tractor on the feet. Not only does he have a granite chin, unlike Robert Whittaker and unlike Alex Pereira, but he pushes forward so often and disrupts your rhythm. And he's throwing kicks to the body and he's throwing punches to the body and he's jabbing you up. And I'm telling you right now, Adesanya's jab is horrible. I'm telling you, it ain't all that. Like, I would expect him to have a better jab because he's got a really long reach and, you know, you'd be wise to make that work in your game. And it does work sometimes, but man, he's getting out jabbed by Robert Whittaker. And man, Jared Cannonier's stalking him down. You know, like I'm just telling you right now, Adesanya's regular, you know, old-fashioned boxing, it ain't all that. He's got a nice body kick. He's got good head kicks, but he never lands them. When's the last time Izzy's head kick KO'd anyone? These question mark kicks that you see on his Instagram, like, he's not landing those in his fights. Dricus Du Plessis is probably going to game plan perfectly for this fight. He's going to be super defensively sound when closing the distance. He's going to take Adesanya down, and as soon as he establishes that takedown, and by the way, Adesanya's been taken down by everyone that's ever tried. He's been tough to hold down. I don't think that Adesanya is going to be submitted or finished by ground and pound TKO. He'll definitely be doing a lot of work with Craig Jones. But Dricus Du Plessis is going to take him down. He's going to disrupt his rhythm. And he's going to get right in Adesanya's face. And Adesanya is going to be chucking jab, low kick, feint, 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 and jab. And in between those, he's going to be getting popped around. Now, maybe we see Adesanya pull it out of the fire like he did against Kelvin Gastelum, because I honestly think he might need to. Otherwise, he might lose on the scorecards. I'll talk about the scorecards. I'm a little bit worried they're going to rob my boy, Dricus Du Plessis, and we're going to talk about Australia soon. But the point that I'm making is Adesanya may have to actually start throwing some spinning elbows. He actually may have to start moving forward and fighting. Because if he just sticks to that cruise mode Adesanya, doing just enough to stand in there and throwing the same frequency of strikes at the same volume per round, he ain't going to win against a powerhouse with a granite chin, with insane cardio, who can put everything into his shots, who game plans properly for his opponents. This guy will be defensively sound in this fight. Adesanya is just not going to win the war if this goes 5 rounds. I'm sorry, he's too low output. And history tells me that he doesn't really have that many things to offer once his like quick twitch ability and 8 Mile moment starts to fade away and he's actually, you know, in a tit-for-tat kickboxing battle where he's not necessarily been that dominant. This ain't a guy that's like landing 50 strikes around. He's pretty low output. Dricus Du Plessis ain't low output. His output increases as fights go on. Also, we're going to talk about this. The fact that this is in Australia, you would think that that's Adesanya's backyard. He got booed in Australia last time. Sean Strickland took over. Sean Strickland was the fan favorite on the night of the fight, the whole week. He was the man of the people. He was the man at the press conference as well. Adesanya looked clearly uncomfortable that entire fight week. I don't think he's going to do himself any favors in the build-up to this one, because I believe that if you're looking at Adesanya's Instagram and you're seeing, because he usually likes to get into a character arc in the build-up to his fights, right? Against Paulo Costa, Paulo may have reminded him of, you know, the guys that used to pick on him or something, and he went into that thing like, you know, I'm going in dark. That was Adesanya's thing. And I think this one, it's going to be a little bit of back to the roots. Because, you know, there's that battle of who's actually the true African here. And I think that Adesanya, who did seem to make this a little bit racial in the past and has even gone as far as to say that the reason he was booed in Australia was simply because of the color of his skin, which is not going to help him at all. They booed him last time. What do you think they're going to do to him now? now that Adesanya has been talking some smack. And Dricus Du Plessis is going to have some support because there's a load of South Africans flying over to Australia for a rugby game. I believe there's supposed to be a South Africa versus Australia rugby game the day before UFC 305. So he's going to have like this coalition of his countrymen flying out there, and they're going to want a South African champion because they love having South African representation in sports. So the stands at the fight itself are going to be packed with Australians that were booing Adesanya last time and South Africans that are rooting for Dricus Du Plessis. Man, it's going to be rough. And it got to Adesanya last time. We saw the backlash from the crowd at the press conference during fight week affect him last time. And Dricus Du Plessis, man, Dricus Du Plessis is going to be chilling. He's going to feel right at home. He's going to have tons of South Africans flying out there, and he's going to be getting interviewed by them. It's going to feel like he's fighting in his home country, basically. Maybe not that much, but you get my point. All right, there's going to be like South African Sports Network reporters and South African athletes, and Dricus Du Plessis is going to be, I don't know what they do in baseball. They throw out a first pitch, right? I don't know what they do in football, but, Dricus Du Plessis is going to freaking boot the rugby ball or some shit at the game the day before. Dricus Du Plessis is going to be big chilling. And Adesanya, I think we're going to see him with the shades on and the hoodie, and he's in and out, and he's doing his media, and he's back to the hotel room. I just don't know if this is the perfect environment for him because, again, if he doesn't have that 8 Mile moment, if he doesn't have that, he lasted to miss an opportunity to blow, then I think Dricus Du Plessis' freaking ugly man style is going to be full force Captain Underpants mode, barreling forward at Adesanya, and Adesanya is going to be like, dude, this guy's sloppy. How the heck is this guy landing on me? How the heck is this guy freaking blast double-legging me and freaking jabbing me up? I'm the better kickboxer here. And you got Dricus Du Plessis just freaking bumbling into his jab and barreling forward the whole time. And I just think that the guy has this like ability. Dude, he has the energy that Adesanya had when he was in the Gastelum fight. He's willing to die in the cage. Adesanya is going to need to put this guy out. And I just don't know if his tool bag on the feet is good enough and dominant enough for me to pick him in this fight because I think that it might go to the decision. Dricus is tough. And Adesanya's got a good chin too. I don't think he's going to get finished. I don't think he's going to get submitted. I think Dricus Du Plessis' ground game is good, but he's not got the best control, and Adesanya's got a pretty good ability to get up. I just think he's going to get out volumed. I just think he's going to get overwhelmed. I mean, again, it's like, same rhythm, jabs, leg kicks, couple front kicks, feint, but nothing comes after it. When you tally up the strikes at the end of the round, you've got at least 20, at most 25. I think that Dricus is going to win, dude. I think Dricus is going to beat his ass, man. I really do. I think Dricus is going to go in there and smoke this man. And you know what? I think Adesanya is going to make himself overly emotional in the build-up to this. And I think Dricus is going to stay cool, calm, and collected like a cucumber. And he's going to be freaking in fight week form, chilling, big time, South African support. Adesanya might be getting booed by the Australian fans. I'm telling you, it's going to be an ugly one. It's going to be ugly. All right? Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments. Until next time, I'm changing my pick. I'm going with DDP.